Good morning, everyone. I think you had breakfast. So let's try and do this again. Good morning, everyone. Could you turn to your neighbor and give him a hand clap? Turn to your neighbor and shake his hand or her hands. You can kubonga. Yeah. Oh, we're breaking the SOPs. Thank you so much, and you're welcome to the National Budget Breakfast Engagement. And we are really grateful that our minister, we are so honored that you're here. Our board chair, we are honored that you're here. Our Commissioner General, Mr. Msenguzi, you're honored that you're here. All the commissioners, would like to kick off the event with welcome remarks by the Commissioner General to kick off the event. Thank you so much. A hand clap by the Commissioner General. Thank you.
A guest of honor, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Mr. Henry Musasizi, our Chairman of the Board of Directors of Uganda Revenue Authority, Mr. Katongole, other government officials present here, the members of the business community and the private sector present, members of the civil society organizations present, all our distinguished taxpayers in your respective capacities, colleagues, the tax collectors from Uganda Revenue Authority, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. That is much better. Let me take this opportunity, our leader, the Honorable Minister of Finance, first and foremost, to congratulate you on your appointment as the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. We thank His Excellency the President for appointing you as the Minister for Finance, because there could not have been any better, and we are looking forward to a engage with our taxpayers so as to let them know the changes in the law so that they can comply with the new changes. Some of the tax amendments that have come in, and we'll be discussing them later today, are for the betterment of our businesses. An example is that the IFRIS penalty, which before was fixed at a rate of 5 million every time there is an omission in using IFRIS, has now been adjusted. I'm not sure whether it will be obviously reduction, but it is now relative to the tax that had not been captured on IFRIS. So it is double the tax of goods and services that had not issued the IFRIS invoice, or 10 currency points, whichever is higher. This is meant to address the cry of businesses who registered their complaint about a fixed penalty of 5 million, no matter how much had not been captured in the IFRIS system. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many other amendments, and today, as you may read from the program, we will have 3 different panels to detail what has changed in the law, and it will not be led by us, it will be led by the experts and the civil society members who are present here to discuss what is in it. So I don't want to preempt on what is ahead, but there are many other initiatives like the increase in the threshold of VAT, which is also meant to help businesses from 150 to 300 million, like the improvement of the threshold on pay as you earn. All of these are good amendments that have come for the betterment of our taxpayers and the businesses. So as we all know, businesses in this country are the backbone for revenue collections, and we can only succeed if the business depend on business in one way or another. We buy our everyday supplies from our shops and supermarkets. So the amendments that are coming through from every sector, we need to know them and prepare ourselves accordingly. We want you to know that the changes that will affect you the changes that will affect your businesses and will affect your tax compliance, we want you to know them early so that you can align yourselves. Our hope is that this will help you to prepare for the new financial year and to plan accordingly. It is our duty as Ugandans to come together to build Uganda and free it from economic dependence. This year, ladies and gentlemen, our target is to improve our tax to GDP ratio from the current 14.2% to at least 16%. And this is possible. Last year, we moved from 13.7 to 14.2. So we hope that in this year, we'll move a bit faster and move towards 16%. To put this in perspective, the tax to GDP ratio of 18%, or at least 20, is what can sustain a country to meet from government is to ensure that within the medium term, of 2 to 3 years, we are able to quickly get to a level where we will prevent our government from borrowing every year in order to be able to provide the services that we all need as citizens in this country. I'm therefore convinced that the new tax reforms, together with the improvement in our digital transformation and the dedication of our staff, we will raise the Uganda tax to GDP ratio to at least 18 or 20% in the medium term. But this will be counting on your support as citizens and all the taxpayers in this country for everyone to do their work. In case of any challenges on how to adjust with the new tax measures, I encourage you to approach us. Come with your questions, we will answer them. Our client experience team that serves at the URA call center are here today, and they have set their desks at the back. Please approach them and they will give you all the support you need. Honorable Minister, today we will ask you to help us launch the Client Service Charter, which is a significant milestone in our service delivery journey. The Charter sets out a clear service standard to help taxpayers resolve disputes without resorting to litigation. We have also enhanced access to the tax exemptions that are provided in the law. We have improved our customs clearance processes, and we're expanding the reach of our digital platforms so as to support our taxpayers through the contact center, through our touch points, and other online platforms. The Charter also provides clear channels for whistleblowing and reporting any staff who do not conduct themselves professionally. All this is to reinforce our commitment to the core values that we subscribe to, which is patriotism, integrity, and professionalism. We mention this boldly to our taxpayers so that you can hold us accountable in case you find us lacking in any of the 3 core values that we subscribe to. All this and more information is available on our website. Please read it and give us your feedback on how well we are doing to fulfill what we have promised in our Client Service Charter. This is our renewed promise to deliver revenue services that are simplified, that are timely, that are reliable and convenient. So every interaction with URA should be an excellent experience. Finally, I want you to know that we have a full-fledged tax education team on the ground should you have any questions about these amendments today, but also at your own time when you approach us in our respective offices. They are ready to support you and explain how the changes will affect your businesses. In the coming weeks, we will also carry out similar engagements across the country, nationwide, so as to ensure that nobody is left behind. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank you for coming and to wish you very fruitful deliberations today. It is now my singular, the MC, please guide me.
Yes, Commissioner General, you can invite the person you're going to invite.
Okay, it is now my singular honor and pleasure to invite my chairman of the board of Uganda Revenue Authority, to come and give his keynote address, and after him, he will invite the Honorable Minister who will give his address and also launch the URA Service Charter. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Thank you, Commissioner General. Guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Henry Msasizi, colleagues, members of the board, I see Mr. Moses Kagwa, Commissioner General, members of staff, business communities, civil society organizations, all of you taxpayers, valued taxpayers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Emmanuel Katongole, and I've been a businessman in this country for the last 40 years, out of which 25 years I've been a manufacturer of medicines. And I now find myself in not a very enviable position as chairman of Uganda Revenue Authority. Simply because of my belief that it is our responsibility as Ugandans to grow our country. It is my honor to deliver this keynote address as we open the budget month engagements for the financial year 2026-2027. I thank you all for your continued commitment to fulfilling your tax obligations. Your compliance is not merely a legal requirement. It is a patriotic duty and a direct contribution to Uganda's development. Every road constructed, every hospital equipped, every teacher paid, every public service strengthened, and every investment made in our country's future begins with the taxpayer who chooses to comply. I am particularly pleased to see the business community so well represented here today. Your presence is important because this dialogue is not only about explaining what has changed in the tax laws, it is also about strengthening our shared understanding of why tax compliance matters, what it means for business, and how we can work together to build a stronger and more self-sufficient and self-reliant Uganda. Our guest of honor, Honorable Henry Msasizi, who is the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, this morning, presented the national budget for the financial year 2026-2027 at Kololo Independence Grounds on 11th June of 2026 under the theme, Full Monetization of Uganda's Economy through Commercial Agriculture, Industrialization, Expanding and Broadening Services, Digital Transformation, and Market Access. That theme is not just a government statement. It is a national assignment. It is the standard by which every institution, every sector, every business and every citizen will be measured this year. The numbers behind the theme are worth serious reflection. Uganda's economy grew by 6.4% in the year that we just closed. With commercial oil production expected later this year, growth is projected to accelerate to 10.2% in financial year 2026-27, making Uganda's first return to double-digit growth since the reforms of the 1990s. The economy now stands at approximately United States dollars 69.3 billion. Exports have nearly tripled over 5 years, and foreign exchange reserves have grown to USD 6 billion. This time could not have been any better until the appointment of Honorable Henry Musasizi as the minister. We congratulate you and we look forward to working with you to push our economy to a higher level. These are not abstract figures. They tell the story of a country moving steadily from dependence to self-reliance. They point to a Uganda that is capable of financing more of its own priorities, shaping its own future, and standing on the strength of its own resources. That is why tax compliance must be taken seriously by all of us. In financial year 2026-2027, domestic revenue is projected to rise to Uganda shillings 45.6 trillion. And out of this, 40.16 trillion is tax revenue. Which be funding a national budget of Uganda shillings 84.39 trillion. Every shilling that is properly paid and collected reduces the burden of borrowing. Every trillion we fail to collect domestically is a trillion we must borrow or we must do without. Tax payment, therefore, is not a small matter. It is central to our country's good standing, credibility, and sustainable progress. Uganda cannot achieve lasting transformation if citizens and businesses treat taxes as optional, secondary, or avoidable. Our development depends entirely on the timely and proper payment of taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that has been said already by the Commissioner General this morning points to one clear truth: tax compliance is a collective responsibility. It is the duty of the taxpayer to pay what is due accurately and on time. It is the duty of tax administration to collect fairly, efficiently, transparently, and respectfully. It is the duty of the leaders, professionals, advisors, businesses, and citizens to promote a culture where compliance is understood as part of responsible citizenship. The Commissioner General has already walked us through the details of the tax amendments. Allow me to highlight two that speak directly to fairness, a principle that must continue to guide our work. First, Parliament raised pay-as-you-earn threshold from 335,000 shillings to 333,500 shillings per month. This is a deliberate decision to put more take-home pay in the hands of Uganda's tax and lowest paid workers. Second, the annual VAT registration threshold has been raised from shillings 150 million to shillings 300 million. For the small trader, the growing SME, and the entrepreneur who is still finding farm floating, this eases compliance and improves cash flow at a stage where support matters most. These amendments are not isolated technical adjustments. They reflect an important balance, raising the revenue Uganda needs while protecting those taxpayers who can least afford unnecessary pressure. The same balance must be guided every decision we make. Fairness in collection, fairness in administration, and respect in service delivery. As we gather here today, we recognize that tax compliance is a partnership between the institution and taxpayers of Uganda. Your contribution have enabled steady improvement in revenue collection and tax to GDP ratio growth. This program, it has happened because citizens and businesses have chosen to participate in the development of our country. Every taxpayer in this room, I say this clearly, you are valued partners in Uganda's progress. You are not adversaries to be managed. You are contributors to a national mission. That is why Uganda Revenue Authority management and staff are putting in work to engage, educate, guide and support taxpayers in understanding how tax laws affect income, businesses, operations, and long-term planning. No taxpayer should face unnecessary hurdles when filing returns, paying taxes, or seeking clarifications. This commitment has been supported by practical tools: web-based local excise duty return forms, VAT web reforms, the USSD code, and other digital platforms designed to make tax transactions faster, simpler, and more accessible. I urge you to use these tools. More importantly, I urge you to make compliance a habit, not a burden, a routine, not a source of friction. The Client Service Charter being launched today by the Honourable Minister is not a symbolic document. It is a promise in writing. It is aligned with the corporate plan and reflects a commitment to process efficiency, productivity, partnerships, quality people, and an engaged citizenry. It sets the standards of service that taxpayers should expect and demand. Ladies and gentlemen, the responsibility entrusted to me, both in public service and the wider service community, requires a constant commitment to integrity, ethical conduct, and accountability. These responsibilities call for honesty in what we say and do, fairness in how we treat others, goodwill in how we build relationships, and high standards. These principles are not ceremonial. They must guide how we lead, how we serve, how we collect, how we pay, and how we account for public resources. If we ask the citizens to comply, we must also demonstrate that public institutions can be trusted. If we ask taxpayers to act responsibly, we must also serve them with professionalism, transparency, and respect. Honorable Minister Musasi's budget speech carried a fitting phrase. This is the era of implementation, not just planning. The same is true for tax compliance. We have spoken for years about voluntary compliance, partnerships, fairness, and national transformation. This financial year, those words must become visible action. As an organized institution, we must work together with discipline, unity, and personal responsibility. Meeting the set revenue targets for the year is important, but it should not be the limit of our ambition. We must aim and exceed them. We must go beyond what is expected. We must serve better, engage more deeply, simplify processes, build trust, and support taxpayers to comply willingly and confidently. Each of us has a role to play. The taxpayer must pay correctly and on time. The business community must keep proper records and embrace transparency. Professionals and advisors must guide clients lawfully and ethically. Public officers must serve with diligence and accountability. Leaders must continue to build confidence in the system. Together, we must create a culture where paying taxes is understood as a serious obligation and a proud contribution to Uganda's future. Let us therefore live this dialogue with renewed commitment. Let us not only understand the laws, but apply them. Let us not only discuss targets, but exceed them. Let us not only speak of development, but finance it. Let us not only plan for transformation, but implement it. Uganda's future will not be built by intention alone. It will be built by responsible citizens, compliant businesses, accountable institutions, and a shared belief that this country is worth investing in. Ladies and gentlemen, let us join hands to build Uganda for ourselves and for the generations to come. That will be our legacy. That is what we shall leave for our children and the children of our children. Thank you for your attention, and God bless our country.
A round of applause for our board chair. Board chair, you can then invite our minister. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my profound honor to invite a leader who has stood at the heart of our economy, who has represented this country in Parliament so well, who has spoken about the economy of this country so efficiently and so effectively. A gentleman whose appointment as Minister of Finance has energized the nation. Join me to welcome the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Development.
Thank you so much, Chairman Katongole, for your kind compliments. The Chairman Board of the Uganda Revenue Authority, the Commissioner General, and management of the Uganda Revenue Authority, the development partners, representatives of professional bodies, Director Kagwa, who represents the ministry on the board of URA, distinguished taxpayers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It's my pleasure to join you today for the URA National Budget Breakfast Dialogue and to launch the URA Service Charter. Allow me at the onset thank the Uganda Revenue Authority for convening this important engagement. This annual dialogue has become an important platform for constructive engagement between government, taxpayers, and the private sector. I also want to appreciate the role played by the academia, the civil society, the professional bodies, the media, and other stakeholders in an effort to build Uganda together. And I'm happy to see my usual suspects, Julius Mukunda, Accord, and the rest. It's always a pleasure seeing you in these engagements. Our being here this morning reflects our shared commitment to transparency, accountability, and continuous dialogue in the implementation of government policy. Over the last several years, Uganda has navigated extraordinary global challenges. We have experienced the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, disruptions to the global supply chains, geopolitical tensions, rising commodity prices, and tighter international financial conditions. Many economies around the world continue to face significant fiscal and economic pressures. Yet Uganda has remained resilient. Our sustained growth of the economy are due to our strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Inflation has remained low and stable. The Uganda shilling has remained relatively stable. Foreign direct investment continues to grow. Tourism has recovered strongly. Exports have expanded significantly. Most importantly, the confidence in Uganda's economy continues to strengthen. These achievements provide a solid foundation for the next phase of our development, particularly job creation. Our economy is projected to grow by 6.4% during financial year that closed a week ago and has expanded to approximately Uganda shillings 250 trillion, an equivalent of $69 billion. With the commencement of commercial oil production later in this year and continued investments across the productive sectors, economic growth is projected to accelerate to over 10% during financial year 2026-2027. This would represent Uganda's first return to double-digit growth in several decades. These achievements deserve recognition. I now come to the domestic revenue mobilization and financing our future. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to turn to an issue that is central to today's dialogue. Domestic revenue mobilization around the world. Countries that have successfully transformed their economies have done so by progressively strengthening their ability to finance development from their own resources. The government remains firmly committed to implementing the second domestic revenue mobilization strategy. We recognize that sustained development cannot rely indefinitely on borrowing or development assistance alone. In the medium term, we project to collect 20% of GDP up from 14%. This will be achieved through digital transformation, formalization, coordination, rationalization of tax policy, and transforming client experience. Therefore, Uganda must progressively finance a greater share of its development through sustained economic growth and expanding tax base, improved compliance, stronger institutions, and modern and efficient revenue mobilization. Since I am addressing the taxpayers, I want to add that we are working hard towards improving the willingness, as Chairman Katongole was saying, and also the Commissioner General. The taxpayers must be willing to pay the taxes. Compliance should be an obligation, should be a responsibility. I should not be policed or forced to comply. And how shall we achieve this? From the government side, we are working towards ensuring that the taxes you give us are spent in the right way, so that you are able to drive on the good road, you are able to access good medical care, we are able to make investments that bring jobs, the children are able to access good schools for free. Once we achieve this, and also minimize the corruption, you don't feel happy when you hear that you have paid and other people have eaten. Sometimes I interact with the ordinary Ugandans, not sometimes, all the time, because I interact with the lowest people in the pyramid. So this notion that some people pay, others eat, we build a culture where our citizens of Uganda appreciate more why they should pay the taxes willingly. In financial year 2026-2027, the government projects domestic revenue of Uganda shillings 45.96 trillion, of which 40.16 trillion will come from tax revenue. These resources will finance the investments required to sustain our transformation agenda while maintaining fiscal sustainability. But achieving these targets is not a responsibility of URA alone. It requires a growing economy, thriving businesses, voluntary compliance, a fair and predictable tax administration, and trust between government and government approach. Government recognizes that economic growth must translate into higher disposable income, particularly for lower-income workers. For this reason, we proposed to Parliament, and Parliament approved an increase in the monthly pay-as-you-earn threshold from 235,000 to 335,000. This measure will increase the take-home pay of low-income earners while preserving the progressivity of our personal income tax system. This reform reflects our commitment to ensuring that the tax system remains responsive to the welfare of ordinary Ugandans. On supporting small businesses, small and medium enterprises remain the backbone of Uganda's economy. They account for the majority of businesses, create employment opportunities, and stimulate innovation across every region of our country. Government therefore appreciates that compliance costs can be disproportionately burdensome for smaller enterprises. To address this, we have increased the VAT registration threshold from 150 million to 300 million in annual taxable turnover. I think Chairman Katongole also talked about this. This reform will allow many smaller businesses to concentrate on expanding production and employment while enabling URA to focus on its resources on taxpayers where the great revenue risks arise. This is an example of a smarter tax administration, one that improves efficiency while reducing unnecessary compliance costs. To further support SMEs, the government through Ministry of Finance will implement an accounting tool to assist SMEs to keep record of their transactions, costs, and profits. I call upon SMEs to utilize this tool for faster growth. This year's budget introduces targeted incentives to encourage investment in priority sectors. These include tax incentives for large-scale investment in ultra-luxury tourism facilities, extension of VAT deferment for inputs used in iron ore processing support mineral value addition, and measures that improve the treatment of Tier 4 financial institutions. These reforms recognize that tax policy is not only about revenue collection, but is also a tool for stimulating investment, promoting industrialization, and creating productive employment. I always get some concerns. Some of our people think, especially our local people, they believe the incentives are for the big people. I think Ochichi here, you have a lot of work to do, because this incentive regime is designed for both local and foreign investors, including the SMEs. but this information sometimes does not reach the local investors. What they always get is the negative sentiments that we favor foreign than them. But I want to assure you, we are determined to support our private sector from the lowest level of the pyramid up to the top. So these incentives, even where they are not, and you feel if we give them, will contribute to the growth of this economy, always bring the ideas, we discuss them and adopt them. The government is equally committed to ensuring that the tax system treats comparable economic activities consistently and fairly. The withholding tax has been introduced on foreign interest payments and harmonization of taxation with the gaming sector. Fairness is essential to voluntary compliance. When taxpayers believe that everyone contributes their fair share, confidence in the tax system increases and compliance improves. On financing national priorities, the government has also introduced selected excise and environmental measures that support important public policy objectives while generating additional domestic revenue. These include adjustment to excise duties on selected products, increases in environmental levies and imported used clothing, and measures intended to support local manufacturing, environmental protection, and infrastructure financing. While such measures may require adjustment by businesses and consumers, they should be understood within the broader context of financing investments that improve the competitiveness and productivity of the entire economy. From the revenue collection to revenue partnership, government will support Uganda Revenue Authority to continue evolving into a modern revenue administration that is digital by design, intelligence-led, risk-based in compliance and management, transparency in its operations, efficient in service delivery, and trusted by taxpayers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's launch of the Uganda Revenue Authority Service Charter is therefore a significant milestone. The Service Charter is much more than a document outlining administrative procedures. It represents government's commitment to strengthening the relationship between taxpayers and the revenue administration. Through this charter, Uganda Revenue Authority commits itself to delivering services that are timely, professional, transparent, and responsive. Ladies and gentlemen, sustained high levels of tax compliance include other strategies other than enforcement alone. Even while enforcement will always remain necessary, government will continue to combat tax evasion, illicit financial frauds, smuggling, under-declaration, and other forms of non-compliance. However, international experience consistently demonstrates that the highest levels of compliance occur where taxpayers understand the tax system, trust public institutions, and perceive the tax system to be fair. Therefore, government will invest in taxpayer education, taxpayer service, policy predictability, and institutional integrity. As a result, Compliance should increasingly become the easiest choice, not because taxpayers fear penalties, but because they understand the importance of contributing to the national development. Every tax shilling collected finances roads, hospitals, schools, electricity, water infrastructure, security, digital infrastructure, and social services. Compliance is about investing collectively in Uganda's future. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I make an appeal to the private sector to continue investing in Uganda, creating jobs, adding value, innovating and formalizing businesses. Government remains committed to maintaining the macroeconomic stability, improving the business environment, and ensuring that tax policy supports long-term investment and competitiveness. To professional bodies, to continue promoting ethical practice, supporting taxpayers to understand their obligations, and providing constructive feedback that helps government improve tax policy and administration. To URA, to maintain the highest standards of professionalism, treat every taxpayer with fairness and respect, embrace innovation, strengthen collaboration with other government institutions, and always remember that every positive interaction between URA and the taxpayer strengthens confidence in the government itself. To every Ugandan, to pay taxes not merely as a legal obligation, but as a contribution towards the collective future of our country. Every compliant taxpayer is a partner in national development. Every honest business strengthens our economy. Every investment creates opportunities for another Ugandan. Ladies and gentlemen, since this is my first speech to the taxpayers as the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, our stakeholders, our partners, our friends, for the best wishes and congratulatory messages. As Chairman Katongole said, when I was appointed, I was told every one of you was happy, especially the private sector. So what promise do I give you? We shall collect the 20%, but at the same time we shall facilitate the private sector to grow. We shall strive to eliminate all policies that limit or constrain your growth as the private sector. How shall we achieve this? We have already agreed with Uganda Revenue Authority and our tax policy directorate at the Ministry of Finance that every 4 months, every 3 months, we shall be meeting to review progress. And Ochichi, what are you saying? You are very happy with the proposal. Ochichi is very happy with the proposal of meeting quarterly to review progress between us, URA, and also the stakeholders. This morning I met the Presidential CEO Forum, which is chaired by Chairman Katongole. You can stand in that capacity for recognition. The Chairman of the Presidential CEO Forum. Our conversation this morning was around how to leverage the opportunities we have to support the private sector to grow. So, and some of the things we discussed was how to make the tax regime so favorable for the private sector to flourish. So we'll be meeting on a quarterly basis to review progress, and also we shall listen to you. You have many platforms, many forums where you belong. These ideas will come through. I want to promise that I will make you happy, and I want you to support me to raise the tax to GDP ratio from 14% now to 20%, so that I am able to finance the government budget without necessarily borrowing at high interest costs. Thank you very much for listening to me. And Commissioner General, what do I do next? Can you come and we launch? Where
Yes.
are we launching from?
We are launching from here, Minister, the official launch of the URA Client Service Charter. I would like the acting manager, Client Service, Madam
So
Aika.
before
Yes.
that, let me thank Commissioner General and his team for organizing this platform where government, Uganda Revenue Authority, the civil society and other stakeholders can meet together to discuss the tax matters, and I'm happy that from here is cascading to the countryside to also evolve to engage with our taxpayers who are country. And we want this to be a continuous engagement. It should not be periodic. It should not only come after the budget speech. It should also be continuous so that we close the gap between ourselves and our taxpayers. But I want to thank you. This initiative is very good. Please continue. Do you have toll-free numbers? I want you people to always call toll-free. Some of the staff of country, instead of helping you, some of them, not all of them, some of them want you to, they come to you, your tax liability is 100 million. If you give me 20, I will reduce it by half. Pay me 20 and pay URA 20 and the balance is there. So, those who disturb you a lot, please report them. Report them. If you cannot report them to John, you can also report them to me. I will take action. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would like the acting manager, client experience, to briefly tell us what the client charter is all about.
Thank you, AC.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister, Finance, Director, Finance, URA Board Chair, CG, Senior Management, our valued clients, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Aika Ndani Sheikh, Acting Manager, Client Experience. What we have before us is a symbol. It's a symbol of a client service charter. It's our pledge and a continued commitment to serve with fairness, trust, and accountability. The charter highlights our service delivery standards and guidelines. This is our commitment to serve you in a timely and reliable manner. Since we are in the digital era, we have also, the Honorable Minister has mentioned our toll-free. It is going to be displayed, but I can quickly read it. It is 0800-117-000, and the second one, the MTN, is 0800-217-000. We also have a WhatsApp number, 0772-14-0. I would like to also highlight that the charter has briefly mentioned about our whistle to give us feedback on how we conduct ourselves out there. The charter is now available on our URA website. That is URA. You will walk out with a copy. Thank you, our valued client, for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much. I can launch the charter. Thank you. Gilbert, hope you're getting ready. We are going to do a small countdown. We are going to do a countdown. 5, 4, 0. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. CG is handing over the handbook. Client Sasha. Officially, they're going to sign. Yes, how we shall conduct ourselves as URA. There are more copies just outside there as you walk out. There are more copies. Our minister is officially signing the official launch of the URA Client Charter and Service Delivery Standards. Thank you so much. Board Chair is also signing. Thank you so much. Our CG, Mr. Musinguzi, is also signing. Obukaloko CG Wana. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our Director, Economic Policy, Mr. Kagwa, is also signing. Obukaloko our Director. Our civil society leaders are also signing. Hoping you will stay and
For launching the charter, we now request to take a group photo with the members of civil society and our chairman board before we allow you.
Let's escort our minister out and we continue our function. I can. You are fluked, I can. Okay. Thank you very much. Gilbert.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
What if accessing government services